What is up, everybody? 49's Fine, back at you again today with another precious metals video. And today I wanted to ask everybody, is 2025 going to be a bad year for gold? Let's talk about it. A huge thank you to our community members. Thank you guys very much for being part of the finest. Let me preface this video by stating this is not financial advice. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions based upon that, and please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love for you guys to join this beautiful precious metals journey we're all embarking on. So I think the best way to kind of determine what's going to happen in the future is to look at the past. History repeats itself. While variables change, generally trends continue throughout time, throughout decades, and the past can be a decent indicator of what's going to come. Generally, that's been a reliable source to predict the future in most things, but precious metals have done things in 2024 I think a lot of us didn't expect. And on top of that, we end the year with a bang, with it being an election year. So we saw a very volatile market in the upwards trajectory throughout 2024. We saw prices we didn't think we would see, or at least I didn't think we would see for another year or two, happen throughout the summer, throughout the fall. And to top it all off, we end it all with getting a new president here in the United States. So that leaves a lot of open-ended questions for 2025. What will 2025 bring for the precious metals? Myself and many other YouTubers have been talking about a correction for months and months, and we saw a little bit of a reaction in the days following the election, but now metals are rallying again. They're rallying back up to 2,700. I think we're in the high 2,600s right now. I haven't checked spot today, but whenever I saw metals dip following November 5th, I figured that it would continue for a couple of months, maybe. I didn't necessarily think it would be a drastic, huge drop-off in spot price, but I did think that we would see a cooling of the market. We just spent 10 months in a crazy bull market. I figured we would see a bit of a consolidation, a cooling off period for the metals, and that doesn't seem to be the case. We had a bit of a reaction. I don't want to use the word correction. We had a bit of a reaction on the days following November 5th, but now we're back in it. We're back in it again. The price is rallying steadily, day over day, week over week now, in the upwards direction. So I really don't know what to think of this. So the question is 2025 going to be a bad year for gold and precious metals in general? And I think that depends on what you perceive as bad. I personally enjoy seeing the metals prices rise, but at the same time, I want to pick up more at the best prices possible. So if there is a correction, I kind of welcome it, because I know in the long term, over 10, 15, 20 years, these metals are going to go up in spot price. We experienced a little bit of downward pressure on November 5th and the days following, but we also have the constant upwards pressure of inflation. Inflation's not going to stop. It won't stop until the currency is debased and they create a new one, only for that one to also be debased later on down the road. All the while, metals exist. They have existed. They will continue to exist until the end of time. So whether or not it will be a bad year for metals kind of depends on how you perceive the word bad. Metals prices going down, if it were to crash, quote unquote, would that be a bad thing? Is that a bad thing? In regards to the stock market, I would say, yeah, that's pretty bad. Watching the traditional stock markets go red and crash for days and days on end, that would be a bad thing. Companies being devalued, national GDP dropping, that would not be good. But I think it's different for metals. We don't buy metals for a quick turnaround. We don't buy metals for a turnaround in a year or two. We buy metals to hold them for long periods of time. Some of us are holding it for life to give down to our younger generations. So whether or not it's going to be a bad year for metals, I think that's the wrong question to ask. I think the best question to ask is, do we have a plan to approach this new unknown market? Because typically, like I said earlier in the video, we can look at the past to kind of help us determine what may happen in the future, but we've had so many wild variables happen in the past 12 months. Life has seemed like a movie. It's just the world events that we've been seeing. It's been an extremely eventful year. We've got our interest rates rolling through every couple of months. We've got a new president that's going to be in office soon. There's just so many variables, and that new president-elect happens to have very strong policies that they are eager to implement day one of their presidency. So it's just so hard to tell what is going to happen to metals prices. And I think the best question to ask isn't, is it going to be a bad year for metals? I think the best question to ask is, do we have a plan for metals this coming year? Do we have a buying plan? Because I feel that metals prices are more tied into world events than they ever have been. Of course, they've always been affected by foreign wars and things like that, but just in the past couple of years, metals have taken a front stage in world economics. And I think the reason for that is because the typical dollar that the United States and countries around the world have used is not doing well. The dollar is sick, okay? And it's not getting any better, and it won't get any better. So I think metals are more closely tied, I think the price of metals are more closely tied to world events than they ever have been. And we don't exactly have I don't know how to word this. We don't exactly have a calm administration coming. It's a very goal-oriented administration for various reasons that I won't get into. But if you look at the past year, you can look at the events that have unfolded throughout the summer and what the person leading this administration has gone through. You can bet your bottom dollar that once he gets into power, he's going to be swinging for the fences from day one. And so I think it's just important to have a plan. I spoke about this in an earlier video. My personal buying strategy is to ask myself, what do I think the bottom of metals could be? If it were to crash, how low do I think it could go? Personally, I think gold around 2,000, 2,100 is the lowest it could go. Silver, I think maybe $23, $24 is the lowest that silver could go. So based upon that, I kind of determine how much gold I buy at any given time. Do I buy a 1/10 ounce? Do I buy a 1/4 ounce? Do I buy a 1/2 ounce? I kind of base that upon where the price currently is and where I think the bottom is, because the higher the price is, the more risk you assume, because it has a higher likelihood of pulling back. But if the price happens to be on a quarterly or bi-quarterly low, that's probably a good indicator to pick up heavier pieces. So that's going to be my plan going through 2025. And whatever happens to the metals, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to be watching the markets. I'm going to stick around. I'm not really going to worry about it. I'm just going to ride the wave, dollar cost average throughout the year, and I'm excited to see what this year brings. I hope the world can heal some. But anyways, guys, please let me know, do you have a plan for 2025? All right, guys. Peace.